All right, man. Man, introduce yourself, man, and tell me kind of a little bit about your life before Christ, and then we'll go from there.
I'm Barrett Harper. 7 kids, and before I found God, I was on drugs, alcohol, leading my kids down a bad path. Lost my grandma, and she was the only person that was in my life that was positive. Then I found my wife and my kids, and they're definitely a lot stronger than me. They brought me through so much.
Yeah.
Stuck with me through the hard stuff. And I found this church about over a year ago. I didn't come right away. I got scared.
All right. What's the name of this church again?
12 Corners Baptist.
Yeah.
And me and my wife were getting real bad, trying to break up. And it's mostly because of the drugs and alcohol. And I broke down one day and told her we need to go. We need to go find something that's going to be right for us because we have no right direction.
It's on this fall. And before Christmas is my birthday.
That's your son.
That's my oldest boy.
Okay.
And then I had seizures for most of my life, or for the last 7 years before I came here. Every day, multiple days sometimes. And I got to a point where I was like so tired of it, I was ready to take my life. I had one in the parking lot here at the church, and I got up and went to go into church, and my head was hurting so bad, and I was ready to go back to the car and end it. And I hit my knees and prayed to God that He would take them from me so I could live a good life with my kids and be able to lead them the right path. And that's what He did for me. He took it from me.
Yeah.
And I told Him I wasn't worthy. I didn't expect Him to do anything for me, but He did anyways. And now I'm still standing here today with my kids.
Yeah.
My negative depression thoughts are all gone. These are tears of joy, actually.
Yeah.
My kids mean everything to me and my family. And God means way more.
Yeah. Well, man, how has it been, working with Steve here at the church at 12? And what you been doing, man, with, how's it been going, man?
Steve's a blessing in himself, too. Like, when I came here, I was comfortable with everybody, but I couldn't open up to anybody, and I was scared.
Sure.
And
Yeah.
I told Steve, I was like, I have an issue with drugs and addiction, pornography, everything. There wasn't something I wasn't addicted to. And Steve said, you know what? You're good with me. We're family, dude. There's no changing that. And I don't care what struggles you're going through. You can tell me and I won't judge you. And I was like, so I told him everything. And then as I'm telling him that, I realized I haven't had a seizure in 2 months. And I tell my wife, and she's like, yeah, you have it. And I noticed that, but I don't want to say anything and jinx it. And I'm like, well, there ain't no jinxes in this world. God's the only one that can control that kind of stuff.
Yeah, man.
Every medication there is, nothing worked for me. God's the only medication that we need.
Man, and you tell me, man, you've been sharing with like people when you've been working with Steve. That's Steve over there with his kids. But you've been telling me, like you've been doing evangelism and tell me how's that been and maybe a story.
It's funny because you said since January, but really, I didn't start until Falls Creek. I actually met you there for a minute, and we had a lot of people around, and I shook your hand. And then Steve, the next day, I went home early because the storms were coming, and my wife was at home.
Yeah, I remember that day too.
Yeah, and then my wife was like, I wish you would have stayed, and I was like, yeah. And then Steve tells me that he heard your class up there, and he said, I really want you to listen to him and see what he's got to say. And then when I saw your video, I was like, I did talk to him. But I didn't really get all that from you because there's a lot of people around, and like he was talking to other people too. And then I started watching your videos and talking to Steve about, what we're called to do. And that's when we started like doing our classes here with evangelism, discipleship, and he's been the best teacher of everything for me. Like, his kids do what everybody should strive their kids to do.
Yeah.
Oh,
You're good, man. You're good. I wish I brought a napkin out here, man. I love you, man. Thank you. This is sweet, man.
and we flooded our property with the rains that came.
Oh, it flooded y'all property?
Oh yeah, the water was this close from going into our door.
Wow.
I had to like climb out in the middle of the flood and rip a fence down that was stopping everything from going past. And about lost all my animals. It destroyed everything. We were just praying for a way to get comfort, or maybe get a different house that we could be in that's up on the hill of our property, so we weren't flooding. And my wife told Dave, which is a deacon here, that we was looking for something, and he went to go say something to another lady that goes here, and she's like 87 years old and does everything herself. And
yeah,
both her kids or one of her kids is still alive, one of them's dead, but she just keeps going, and she's been a big influence in her life. And she told Dave before he asked her, hey, look, I got this trailer over here, do you know anybody that needs a place?
No way.
And she said, I'm trying to rent it out, but not for much, just enough to like help somebody out and help me at the same time. And so we moved into this trailer like the next weekend.
Oh, man.
She didn't charge us very much, and she takes money off the rent for just doing yard work, and we pay $600 a month. It's insane.
Oh, man, you gotta be kidding.
And she's really made it to where I can move back and forth and help fix my property, rebuild, and like God's the only one who can do this for us. Like,
yeah.
She knew nothing about us flooding, nothing about.
She didn't know.
She didn't know anything. She just, she was about to have the conversation with Dave, and Dave was like, that's funny you say that, because I got a family that I was just about to talk to you about maybe getting that trailer. And she was like, really? And he was like, yeah, they just got off the phone with me, and I was calling you to talk to you about it. And she was like, well, that's God working through our lives. I guess I need them here. So we moved in the next week, and I mean, it wasn't the greatest trailer. It was definitely had a lot of issues and stuff, but it's still a blessing to me. Like,
yeah, bro.
I worked my whole life fixing things and doing things like that. So I told her I don't even want nothing off. I don't want nothing off my rent. I'm gonna fix it just because it's where I need to be right now.
Yeah.
And it's been so crazy. So since we was at Falls Creek, I've witnessed to over 100 people, because there's not much time left for people to find, like, our life's short anyways. Nobody knows when they're gonna die. To be me in 5 minutes, who knows?
Yeah, man.
So I take it as the urgency to tell people. And like the way things happen, I gave this old lady a track, and I gave this other guy a track at the gas station. There's 20 other people around. The old lady didn't read it, but she left the parking lot and came back. Something told her to. And came to me and was like, look, since you were so nice, can you please air up my tire for me? And I was like, yeah, no problem. And like, we get over there airing the tire up. I was like, did you read the track or something? And she was like, that's a track? And I was like, yeah. And she says, no, I didn't read it yet, but you were nice to me, and you approached me as a decent person. And she said, I just didn't trust anybody else. We were in a bad neighborhood. We were in OKC, and it's like the Spanish part of the town. So there's nothing but Spanish people, and they're like the guys on the corner selling drugs, and like you could definitely tell. And I didn't even want to get out there, but I had to get gas anyways. And so I started talking to her, and she tells me her husband passed away, and that she couldn't do it by herself, and that she's trying to learn. And I basically told her that God's always with you, and you're never alone. And she said, I know God too, I just forgot. And it made me cry. I was like, please don't forget, because he's got to be there with you with everything you do.
Yeah, man.
And your husband's with him, so.
Yeah, man.
And then I was like, finishing up airing her tire, and that guy that I gave the track to was flying back in with his truck and trailer and a bulldozer on the back of it. he comes flying in and pulls up next to me, and he's like, "Hey, man." I throw all those things away all the time. I throw them in my glove box. I don't read them. He said I didn't know it was a track until I got all the way through it almost. And I said, "Yeah, I know that's the point of those tracks." And really, I didn't want to be next to you because it was gonna make you look like a dog when you do certain steps, because it says so. It says, breathe through your nose and your mouth. At the same time, can you do it? Yeah, you can, but you look like a dog. You know? So he came back and he was laughing and telling me. And then he told me he had seizures, and I was like, God put you here just for me to talk to you right now. And he was like, why you say that? And I was like, because I had seizures as well for 7 years. And I told him our whole story. And he's like, well, yours are worse than mine. I was like, no, you have the bad seizures. You got epileptic seizures. Mine were more body and stress related. And he said, he was like, so what happened? And I was like, I stopped taking medicine for him, and I started going to church. And I prayed to God, and he took them from me. And that's the truth, and there's no other explanation for it. And any of my family members will tell you the same thing. Yeah. And he broke down. That was the first time I prayed out loud with another adult, because I'm always ashamed of who the things I've done and who I am.
Yeah.
And I'm not ashamed anymore.
Now you use what kind of tracks do you use?
Illusion tracks. I got them, and they kind of just which one's bigger.
Okay, how do you approach people when you use them?
So I don't really go by what it says on the back, because I use my own stuff.
Yeah, there you go.
That's and I'm good. Like, so which one's bigger? I got a trick for you. Which one's bigger? And they're like, what do you mean, fatter or taller? Or like, or some of them, like, they know the trick. So I'm like, oh, that one's bigger. Okay, cool. Well, let's really see. And I put them together. Okay. And I tell them. So what this tells me is that we're all different on the outside when we're apart, but when we come together before God, we're all the same. Yeah. And our souls can match and line up no matter what. We all have testimony. We all have struggles. We all have sin, and our only way to come together and beat all that is through God. And when you do, God makes us equal. And
praise the Lord.
That's how I use those.
Praise the Lord. That's great, man.
And because that's what they meant to be when I first seen them.
Man.
The man over there, Steve, he's
he's
definitely God sent. He's definitely God's in him every day. His kids, and I strive to be around him as much as possible, because I want my kids to be like his. And
man.
I try to be like him, not as an idol, but like as in a real follower.
Sure.
And like I was telling you, Christian, the word Christian to me now is so loosely used. Like, it almost makes me ashamed to say it, because I might say it to somebody and they take it serious, and then this person says it to them, and they're like, oh wait,
they don't really live it.
You're not a Christian because of the way you act. But in reality, we all are if we're saved and we're following God the right way. But I try not to tell people that.
Yeah, I got you. So. Well, you mind getting your son over here,
Edwin?
Hey, I taught him how to do evangelism with the hand illustration. Hey, Edwin, what's up, man?
What's up,
man? Hey, do you mind sharing with people like the hand gospel that I shared with you that you're gonna be using?
So this means this is good, and we're right here. This is Jesus, and then this our middle one is heaven. If we don't follow Jesus or God, then we're stuck. And when we try to leap for heaven, we fall into to hell. But if we follow Jesus and we do what he says, and we follow the prayers and the signs,
and we repent, right?
And we repent and believe. Jesus will come, and then we will be able to come on him, and then he will take us to heaven.
Yeah, man. That's good stuff, man. And you've been watching your daddy. You said something about your daddy, how he used to have seizures and stuff, and how now you following your daddy. Anything you want to say about how your daddy has really like been a good example for you?
He's been a good example for from the day I met him to right now. I would say he's been the best, and he can really do some good stuff.
Yeah. It's really cool when he really started following Jesus, huh?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, yeah. What you think?
And he knows that, you know, I still fall short all the time.
Yeah, he ain't perfect.
I get angry and, you know, say and do some things that I probably shouldn't. And I always try to tell him sorry and like.
Yeah, that's good, man. That's good.
You know, I know a lot of your anger comes from what I do too. So
yeah,
I don't want you to be that way. So I got to stop being that way too.
All that matters is that we're a Christian family and that we follow God.
Right.
That's your next pastor, right? Well, let me ask you one more thing. If somebody is scared to do evangelism, I mean, you only been saved since January, right? If somebody is scared to do evangelism, what advice would you give them about sharing? You know, because you already shared with almost 100 people.
I was terrified too at first.
Yeah.
I mean, I can't say I know every verse in the Bible or even any that I memorized or anything, but I do know that when you do it and you step out of your comfort zone for the first time, and you get the feeling, and then people ask you questions and you don't really know the answer, but you give them the answer anyways, you know that God's talking through you, because none of us could do it by ourselves.
Yeah, man.
And so you just have to put the faith in God and step out there and try. Yeah. And if you don't do that, you'll always live in that fear.
That's good, brother.
And we're not supposed to live fearful. So try to be fearless.
Love y'all, man. Anything you want to say?
Have a good time. Try and go to church and pray.
All right, man.